The book Guilt by Accusation. Professor Dershowitz, great to see you.
Thank you.
So, just trying to get a gauge, the term is biblical. I mean, we're talking about Moses parting the Red Sea here, Jonah and the whale. We could go into these stories, but we're talking about some miraculous type information that would change the course of the election here. What do you expect to hear or see presented in court from Sidney Powell?
We don't know. It may be Potiphar's wife in the Bible falsely accusing Joseph. Accusations are one thing, proof is quite another. Georgia will defend itself by saying that there are paper backup ballots for the computers. And if the paper backup ballots are consistent with the computer voting, that will be very difficult for the other side to dispute. Remember, the issue is not, was there a potential for voter fraud or for voter glitches? Was there a potential for that? It seems like there probably was the potential for that. The real issue is, did it occur? And soon, I think the public is going to demand the evidence. We've heard the allegations, and they're serious. And if true, they could have an impact on the election. But I also heard that Ms. Powell said that they won't have the lawsuit filed perhaps until Friday, and that's very late in the process. So she's talking about it a lot on television, but now I think we have to see the evidence. If the evidence is there, the law will back her up. But the two problems that the Trump administration has is, number one, they have the law on their side in Pennsylvania, but they don't seem to have the numbers on their side in Pennsylvania. In Georgia, they may have the numbers on their side and the law on their side, but they need to have the evidence, not the evidence of what could have happened or who was paid off. All of that's interesting, but the only relevant matter for purposes of decertifying the vote would be if, in fact, you can prove that sufficient number of votes were shifted to affect the outcome of the election. And that will be hard to do. Not impossible, but hard to do.
And you almost hear this kind of made in the allegation that the system was designed in a way to make it hard to prove exactly what the allegations are.
Well, then it's a very tough system to break. Again, you can't win a case based on likelihood, probabilities, probable cause. You have to prove it on the basis of testimony, subject to cross-examination, and proof, not beyond a reasonable doubt, only by a preponderance. It's a civil case, but the burden of proof is still on those who make the allegations. They may be able to argue the following. It'd be interesting. The burden shifts to the state because they have shown the likelihood and the possibilities that these machines could have been distorted for deliberate purposes. And if they satisfy that burden, then maybe the state has the burden of then proving that the election results were legitimate. That would be a very interesting legal issue. I haven't thought it through, but if I were an advocate, I'd probably make that argument.
Do you still believe that the ultimate goal of the Trump campaign is to delay this and eventually get it to be kicked over to the House of Representatives?
Look, that's their best shot, but it's difficult because the more votes aren't certified, let's assume you get the number down from 538 to 518. Then the number required for a majority also goes down if the Constitution is interpreted to mean that you need a majority of the total number of certified electors rather than the total number of electors elected. That, too, is a constitutional issue that has never been resolved by the courts.
So many aspects of this. It must be fun for law professors out there to talk about all the hypothetical situations that are going to come from this.
The American public, we often, as law professors, love these complicated issues. I could teach a whole course on the constitutional issues arising from the 2020 election, but that's not good for the country. We need certainty, and I hope we'll get it before long.
Yeah, the word KT McFarland used earlier was closure, and I think that's, the least we can ask in a situation like this is that everybody feels like there is some sense of closure. We can talk more about that, Professor Dershowitz. Go ahead. Yes, sir.
Before we get closure, there's no reason why the Trump administration can't now cooperate with the Biden transition team, even while challenging, even while not conceding. There's every reason to cooperate on COVID, on national security issues, and I hope they'll see their way to do it.
Yeah, there seems to be more calls to do exactly that, and that there's no prejudice here. If you go ahead and make those steps, it doesn't impact anything that could happen down the road. An important aspect of there. And Professor Dershowitz, when I saw you on our schedule today, I was very excited to talk.